I think one of the things I'm so sad about is I'm going to have to do a better job with dealing with my feelings with this, because the last time we had such loss, I didn't, and I suffered with it. Been sitting here thinking about Taylor Swift's song, I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. I'm really good at doing this shit with a broken heart. Hey guys, welcome to the official YouTube page for Calm Down with Erin and Charissa. This is where you can watch all of our ridiculous conversations and fun interviews. We have full shows, we've got pre-games, anything and everything that you guys could want. But first, you're going to have to subscribe. Just hit subscribe right there and you're good to go. And now you can calm down with us. Yep. Can you tell that we're reading this off a script? We hope so. All right. We need to calm down and wrap this bad boy up. Press subscribe. Thanks for listening. Calm Down with Erin and Charissa is a production of iHeartRadio.
I don't know where she is. So
I think
when
and
I
with
talk
that,
to her,
we welcome you to the Calm Down podcast.
That's how we do it. Sometimes,
I love it.
Sometimes we know where she is. Sometimes we don't know where she is, and that's okay. That's how it goes.
I think we do this like that.
Sounds like a good time to me. Listen, I'm just happy to be here. You know,
Are we starting?
I guess we can.
This is it. Hi guys, welcome to the Calm Down podcast. I am right now with our producer / perfect husband / greatest guy friend, greatest guy to find things quickly in a chat. Our main man, Ryan. We just said it perfectly. We don't know where Charissa is. There's no need to take out a missing persons ad. We've seen her all over the internet with Lauren Bezos at her bachelorette. Oh, sorry, Lauren Sanchez. I call her Bezos at her bachelorette party. But from here to Cannes to Paris, we don't know where she is right now.
Listen, we've talked about in the past. People have made comments about you on social media when you wear your hat on the sidelines. Maybe you're Carmen Sandiego, but I think for this week it's Charissa's Carmen Sandiego, because where in the world is Charissa Thompson? Nobody really knows, but she is safe, so we don't need to be concerned about that. She's having a good time. We're letting her do her thing, and I am very grateful to be stepping in this week.
Yeah, I love you for that. And thank you so much for that. Yeah, I feel like you did your hair. You put on a golf shirt and everything.
I combed my hair. Yeah. Put on a collared shirt for you. You
look great. Made the bed.
Had to make the bed. Classic
is
hotel.
Is that it? Oh, you're in a hotel room?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
hotel room
area. Rye, will you let people know what your real job is, so people can appreciate your hours and the fun person that you get to work with that's more OCD and ADD he's actually not ADD, he's OCD, right?
Look, as with you and Charissa, you have what you would say are sort of your primary jobs with NFL on Fox. What my primary job would be is I am the producer for The Herd with Colin Cowherd. So that's our daily show, 9 to noon Pacific, noon to 3 Eastern, Monday through Friday, FS1 and iHeart. Every day I wake up about 4 a.m. Our prep meeting starts about 6 a.m. We do prep for about 2 hours. Then Colin goes to hair and makeup. Myself and the rest of the production team continue to put the show together. Then we go live at 9 a.m. and we run that till noon. And then on Mondays, I have the great pleasure of jumping in the car, heading home from the studio, doing it with you lovely ladies, and then working the podcast in the hours that I'm not working the herd. And so that's why sometimes in those crazy weeks during the NFL season or in the off season when things are moving around, I'm not always able to make the recording sessions because you want to move it up into earlier in the day. And unfortunately, I got to be with Colin during that time. So yeah, that's sort of how things work for me. Is I do that show in the morning and then work with you guys in the afternoon.
He deals with 3 different types of media personalities, which I don't envy you at all, but you do such a great job. You're newly married. Can we still say that? Are you newly married? How long have you guys been married?
Almost 5 years. So I don't know
where the hell is the time gone, right?
I know, right? Tell me about it. Yeah, we actually, let's see, in about a month, what are we in, mid-May? Yeah, a month from now is when we started dating 10 years ago.
Oh my God.
And so that's sort of how we feel, is we're like, have we been together a decade now? That's hard to believe.
Okay.
So yeah, but yeah. That's where we're at. So not so much
No,
newlyweds, but
I
hey, it
was
feels
off.
like it. We'll go ahead and say that it feels like it.
I'll explain much later why my body is completely numb right now. So you've been together for 10 years, but been married for 5. Jarrett
Mhm.
and I will be celebrating 7 years. And then right after the 2012 Stanley Cup is when we met. So how many years is that?
2000, did you say 2010?
After the 2012 Cup.
2012. So that's 13 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So year 5 in a marriage, what does that bring? Like not complications, but what are we dealing with year 5 in a marriage?
Well, for us, it's mostly that sort of trying to grow our family type of phase. So that's where we're at. Our whole thing. So obviously, if you do the simple math, 5-year marriage means that we were right in the thick of 2020 pandemic when we were trying to get married. So we had these grand pictures of, hey, our wedding's going to be in May. We have our house that we're getting. We're going to close on in June. We're going to have our honeymoon. It's going to be great. And then that got all blown up. We still got our house, but then our wedding ended up being in October.
Oh my God.
The honeymoon had to be in 2021. Everything's great. First world problems. All things considered, everything's great. But, so that sort of delayed our timeline on how we thought being married, having a honeymoon, growing a family, everything sort of pushed back a year or 2 or so. So that's sort of the phase that we're entering in now.
Yeah.
And that brings its own challenges of, as you've well laid out, that you just got to kind of take it as it comes. And, we're just working through that and everything's been great. We're it's funny because people will ask, like, what's your biggest fight? Look, we've had fights over the years, but like, you really have to sit there and think about like, oh, okay, wow, what would be our biggest fight? And it's like maybe 3 years ago now, something, and it's always something trivial, right? You're always like, well, you said this and it made me think or feel this. And it's never as big of a deal. Like half the time you can't even remember. You're just what were we even so upset about?
Yeah. Okay. So what are we, can we even give us insight? You know what Charissa and I fight with Jarrett and Steve about. What are you guys fighting? Or will your wife be annoyed?
Oh, totally. I mean, like that's always, it's very similar to what you guys will say, right? I see so much of myself in Steve and Jarrett to where it's like, I'm a patient person. Right. And so it's always, I think it was Steve who may have hit on this when you guys did the Plus Ones episode, where it's not as much what you say, it's how you say it. And so that's
something my dad preaches, Jarrett preaches. I need to understand that a lot better than I do.
And so that's so often where we'll have a disagreement it's just, I have like my patience threshold is very high, but then if that's been surpassed because I've no longer willing to just be patient with the fact that it's like, okay, you know what? We don't need to have this attitude, or we don't need to be saying it like this, or, hey, have we even considered this? So that's more often than not. And to what we were saying is like, at the core of what we think the disagreement is, you're like, this isn't even an issue. Like, why are we arguing about it? But it's, you've said it a certain way, and now I'm upset, and now I've responded to you, and now you're even more upset by the way that I've responded to you, and you don't even remember what you're arguing about anymore.
Exactly. And in the grand scheme of things, it's not even friggin' worth it anyways.
It's stupid. Just like, it feels so dumb.
No, take me to dinner and let's go,
Right. I mean, and that's marriage, right? Is you have to go through those things, and then you're just like, well, it looks like we're going to continue to be around each other all the time. So I guess we'll just get over this.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. Hey, do you want to do some pregame questions since you're the producer? Is that where we do this here? Should we do
it? Let's do it. Let's
okay. I love it.
On.
I'll take the first one, and then you can play the role of Charissa and read the second.
Right
car
on.
Essentials. I just recently got a new car and trying to figure out what I need. I know I like a big SUV, but I have to be careful about an SUV. I don't know if they mean type of car or what you need in it. I need a good sound system. I need a ride where I feel like I'm up high, and I need something durable. What about you?
So when I saw this one, I took it as, what do you need inside the car with you? Which is something it's something that's like really... It's something that's really changed over the years, right? Because the whole Bluetooth thing Like it used to be like you had to have like the CDs or the aux cord or all of those things to get you through actually driving. Now, as long as you have your phone, all of that stuff's provided.
Yeah.
I'm a big, you gotta have an emergency water like tucked into the door somewhere.
Good.
Yeah, you gotta have that because although you never need it, you never end up actually using the emergency water. It is important to have the emergency water available in case there's a situation, especially when you're in LA, you're constantly being stuck in traffic. What you think is supposed to take 45 minutes ends up taking an hour and a half, and you're just parched beyond belief. So I'm big on the emergency water, definitely. Because you're never sure when in LA the drive's going to take twice as long as you expect.
So true.
And you just got the dry mouth as you're sitting in traffic. The frustration starts to build, and that's never a good situation.
Can I tell you another thing my dad got? My dad is so great with Christmas gifts, and he always does the scene on TV or, you know, as advertised or whatever.
Okay.
He got those like kind of, they're almost like an extra cushion to put in between your seat and the console. Okay. So like the random pistachio that I'm eating doesn't go down there. The French fry, you know, my bobby pin, things like that. I love that thing.
So, you know, so that way it makes the cleanup easier, or that you're just not concerned that the French fry is now sitting under the seat for the next 24 months. I get that.
Yes. Or you can get your phone a lot easier. It hasn't gone all the way down.
Because that space there, I mean, it's a death trap. It's gone forever. I mean, and now you're just concerned because as you're driving on the 405 and stuck in traffic, you're like, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll find my phone. Maybe I won't. And then what's going to happen if I lose my phone? And now you're just frustrated. You're concerned about the lost phone. It's a problem. It's funny you talk about parents and car essentials. It made me think of, I remember when I first started driving and your parents would give you the Thomas guide. Did you guys have?
No, I don't have that.
Like
the Thomas guide.
It was like an actual like book of maps. And like my dad was adamant. He goes, in your car, you have to have a Thomas guide because you need to know where you're going. And you want to talk about something, I mean, like aux cords and Thomas guides, things you don't need anymore in terms of car essentials. But now that technology, obviously with the phone, has totally made that obsolete.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. I'm big into having an extra pair of sunglasses in the car as well. Gum, a snack would be great, but you never know if it's going to melt. But those are, or in a chapstick as well. I always kind of like, I'm asking my husband, do you have a chapstick? Do you have an extra set of glasses? All the things.
What's the shelf life on gum in the car? Because sometimes if that gets hot and then, then you're like, I have that emergency gum. And then you have it and you're like, oof, how old is this?
Yes. Ooh, and hand sanitizer too.
Good one. Always a good one. Post gas station. Need that one. All right, here we go.
True.
We got Eileen.vo. Where do I meet a hockey player husband?
At a bar.
At a bar?
That's not where I met mine. Mine was set up with Michael Strahan, but they like bars. They really like bars, especially post game. Or if you, I don't know, where do you meet them? They like bars.
For sure. I would say, obviously, you know, I myself was not seeking a hockey husband, but to your point about bars, there are Kings players. I remember growing up in the South Bay area, Redondo Beach, Torrance area, Hermosa Beach Pier, big time Kings players. Yeah. So if you live in the Southern California area, you know, maybe frequent some of those establishments or find the local watering hole based off of your current market that you're living in. And hockey players have been known to have a good time, much like football players. I mean, pro athletes in general.
Offensive linemen love a local watering hole too.
Yeah,
I've heard stories from Baker and Tristan Wirfs about local watering holes, sweet babies. Okay. Anonymous, how do you let your friend know when she's overstepped in a situation? I feel like Charissa and I would both answer the same. You have to tell them, but it's how you tell them. It's all about the messaging, right? Like how you say it seems to be a theme on this podcast.
How you say, not what you say. Yeah, totally. I mean, I think a lot of it is just if they're that good of a friend, and you and Charissa talk about this a lot, is it's like you should be able to just give it to them straight and just go, hey, listen, I know your intentions were in the right place, or you thought you were doing the right thing, but I just really didn't appreciate that. Or, hey, next time when it comes to something that's going on between me and my husband, or, because I'm guessing overstepped in a situation between me and my husband, or me and my wife, or me and my parents, or me and my brother, it's just like, maybe next time that wasn't the spot for you to step in.
Right.
Hey, I appreciate you, and I know you're always looking out for me, but like now wasn't the time. But
yeah, agreed.
That's always the big thing is if they're that close to you, it really shouldn't be that much of an issue. They're clearly giving it to you straight, so you should be able to give it back to them.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah. I like that. I also think like it's good to take a beat, right? To let everybody cool off or let you cool off if you're frustrated, but don't go too long of a beat because then it gets awkward and weird and all that kind of stuff.
Definitely. Always good to take a second, but you don't want it to look,
exactly.
You don't want it to fester. Never want it to fester. Yeah. All right. Gator Gal 422. What is Mac's favorite book? Gator Gal Mac's favorite book.
Mac has so many books. He is a big book guy.
Okay. We saw as you did Jenna and Friends. They did a great video with Jarrett and Mac, and they had his book there with him.
Oh yeah.
He was what's so adorable.
Thank you. He loves the Jimmy Fallon Dada book. I really wish Mama would get more into the rotation. Kind of cool. I don't know. I got to look. It's like the ABCs of like legends, right? They have like a golf book. They've had basketball. He had Celtics the other day and he was really stuck on the red R-back, like page, and I was so excited taking pictures. He glossed over L, which kind of pissed me off. I'm like, listen, Larry Bird, like let's not gloss over it. I get it. We're going right to, Robert Parrish here, but let's not gloss over L.
Come on.
So those are cool. Yeah. I like reading this book called Goodnight Gorilla to him. There's not really a lot of words. It's about a zookeeper that the gorilla takes the keys out and he's letting all his friends out, like the elephant, the hyena, the giraffe, and they all go back with the zookeeper and the zookeeper doesn't see them following him and they all get into his bedroom to go to sleep. And then of course his wife wakes up and sees, and there's no words, but I've like created words where like her eyes are wide open and I go, ah!
Oh,
and
wow.
then the mom, and then the gorilla like is awake. And so she's like, come on, gorilla, good night, gorilla. So Mac now, every time he reads good night, gorilla goes, ah.
That's adorable.
I'm a book writer, obviously.
Hey, that's great.
Yeah. All right. Wendy Alford Meadows. Ooh, explain the peptide shot, please. Is this the NAD plus or something else? So full disclosure, I don't want to get in trouble with anything. I am not a doctor, but I am so into NADs and peptides right now. It is my jam. Actually, Charissa came over and did this at my house with Steve as well. And I can't wait till she gets back and we can talk about it. NAD is not the same as peptide. I don't know. I can't really explain in a medical term what they do. I know I'm obsessed with them. I would actually love to propose that I have my doctor come on and talk about this one time. It is sweeping the nation and the world. It is. You're writing it down to remind yourself?
I am. Taking a little note. Erin Doctor, guest on the show.
Have you partaken in any NAD or peptides?
I am not. I am like the opposite of you and Charissa with the whole like going so above and beyond with trying to maximize the immunity to counteract all of the travel and everything, which I totally understand with how imperative it is for you, for especially the football season and a lot of the events and whatnot that you have to do in the off season. Like getting sick is just not an option. So I totally get it. But I'm more along the lines of take a vitamin C in the morning, drink a lot of water, and that's about it. So the whole idea of all these extra steps that you guys are always venturing off and looking into, like I know a big thing, and I think you've talked about, but other people will be like, they do like the B12 shot and things like that. Like I just look at that and I go, I don't know, that's not really for me. I'm not big on shots, right? Like, it's fine. I'll do the things that I got to do, but to intentionally go out of my way, I'm like, I don't know. I'd like to avoid that if I can. So I get it. I get the benefits, but not for me.
You do a multivitamin? It's a good question, Kurt.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Kurt with a great question. I do
love it.
Vitamin C and vitamin D. So they're two separate ones.
You should be doing a multivitamin. That's not a multivitamin, Ryan.
All right, listen. All right, get better one day at a time. Here we go.
We should also be doing a CoQ10. We should also be doing we should also be doing magnesium. You should be doing creatine. It's great for your brain. I like to think I'm a doctor, and I'm not. I can't tell you the difference between anything, but you give me a supplement, I'm taking it. Colostrum, I'm in. I'm into it all.
Wow. Okay. Listen, multivitamin, creatine. I got a lot of things I got to look into here. All right. We are on Delaney. Favorite summer activity and place to go.
Your excitement, by the way, is adorable. I love you so much, and you're exactly what I need today.
All right, you got it. That's what I'm here for. Favorite summer activity and place to go. I'm a big beach guy. I do love the beach, so I will hit the beach. I could be there all day if I have to. My wife, she's more fair-skinned, so we got to pack the umbrella. She does not handle the sun well, and also as the opposite of Charissa, as you know, you try to be very mindful of not spending too much time in the sun. My wife does the same thing. In it. Carissa's like every time she just thinks, "Hey, it's fine. Yeah, I'll just bake," and then she's surprised that she gets sunburned, which I'm not sure exactly how that's the case. I love the beach. I'll spend all sorts of time at the beach, play beach volleyball, body surf, whatever the case. I'm a big time beach guy. Oh yeah. Love getting in the waves a little bit and getting tossed around. Why not?
Okay. I like a good Cabo situation. I love a casita. I love the chips and guac, the tequila, the sunshine. Yeah. I'm a little bit more anal about the sun now because Howie Long has scared the crap out of me about skin cancer. I'm not dying. I obviously had something, but I've spent some money on some lasers to help with pigmentation. So now I'm like walking around with that hat that covers all sides of my face, which is smart. And I wish I had done it 20 years ago. We love to go to Montana in the summer and spend time out there. We're going to really crush it this year. I say all this, but in the end, I don't like to do anything because we have 6 months of doing so much that when it's time for summer, I already feel like summer is already over now. And we'll explain more why in a minute. But I hate traveling because I do it so much during the year.
Sure. I mean, look, it makes sense that when you actually have a small portion of the calendar to, spend time at home, you're not ready to just jet set off to somewhere. But I could imagine how much of mental strain, if you will, that would be, is that by the time like July rolls around, you're thinking, oh, I could go on vacation. Doesn't that sound nice? And you're like, oh, wait,
I know.
It's all over. I'm actually going to be on a plane for the next 8 months. So
you are?
No, you. That's how I imagine Ryan. You guys are going to be. But listen, it's not over yet. You got a couple more months.
I hate packing. I hate preparing to pack, and I hate unpacking. It's just the worst part of travel for me. So that's, I feel like, what ruins it already going somewhere.
Yeah, this may be because you're just more experienced. The airports is what's killer. And that's mostly a me thing that I'm like the whole, I'll get there way too early kind of thing. And then even though I have TSA pre-check and the whole thing, and then I just end up sitting there for 45 minutes to an hour. And then I'm annoyed that I'm like, wow, I didn't need to be here. I should have spent more time doing other things. But then inevitably when comes time to order the Uber to go to the airport, you start to get those nerves. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to be late. I need to be able to go. But
I know. See, I thrive in that situation. In an airport, you give me an airport. We've talked about it on this show all the time. Give me 10 minutes. I can get you a beverage and potentially an appetizer, and you're at the gate ready to board. You give me a canceled flight. I got your hotel where you're going to stay, or I'm going to try to get you on another flight to get you home. I love it. It's a game show for me. It's a competition.
Yeah. Always ready. Always prepared. Always has the answer. That's EA for you.
Well, I don't think it's always me, but I try, right?
When it comes to travel logistics, you're prepared.
Oh, yeah. Okay, what's next, producer? You are going to host this show.
I think we got one more, right? Anonymous.
Oh, shit. Oh, yes. Anonymous. I have a crush, and we know mutual people, but in different states. Thoughts?
So you've
I don't get
done
it.
the long distance thing. Well, I guess they must have some sort of mutual connection with someone because they know each other, and he's crushing on her, but he's like, can or she, I actually have no idea. They are wondering, is it worth reaching out and saying, hey, let's start this conversation if we live in different states?
Thoughts?
I mean, so I've never done the super long distance, quite like, how you and Jarrett have done when you were in New York and he was in LA. So it's hard for me. For me, if I were to look at that situation, I would probably just let that one be. I would go, you know what? We live in different states. We don't really know each other. Sure, we have a mutual connection, but it just sounds like a big hurdle to clear to start off the relationship already in different states. But it's worked for you and Jarrett. That's just in my experience. My wife and I were both living in LA. We met in LA, continued to live in LA, and that's how it's been.
Look, I think it's hard to date in the same city in a different state. It's also hard to find the right person. I think if you have a crush and they live in another state, I don't think that should deter you from not moving forward. It just makes things a little bit more complicated, but it also makes things kind of fun when you see each other.
Sure.
And hot and exciting and all that. And I just think give it a whirl and see what happens. Look, it's freaking hard to meet people, and it's hard when you're around them all the time. So it's like, if you have the means, if you have the patience, if you are interested in each other that much, see where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, it's clearly worked for you and a lot of other people. So don't let me be the curmudgeon in the room that's telling you not to pursue a crush. I know. Look at me.
Don't be the curmudgeon.
We're here to celebrate positivity and look at the optimistic side of things. So yeah, go ahead. You know what? I changed my answer. Go ahead and pursue that crush. Tell them you're into them. Let's see where we can get things going, regardless of state lines. Who cares? You can make things
I love
work.
it. Perfect.
Absolutely.
And with that, I'm going to get emotional because I do need to get home and go see my family. I've been sitting here writing notes about this. I didn't want to do this podcast today, but I've realized throughout my life with everything that I've gone through in adversity, sometimes this is such a great safe space, from my having surgery the week of, having NFL game cervical cancer surgery, to dealing with trials, to my infertility issues. Poor Ryan, he's in, and Charissa doesn't even know this yet. We got some real shitty news today that our surrogate had miscarried. So I have dealt with this before, but things were going really, really well. And her little heartbeat and her numbers were really good. So much so I even told you guys a couple weeks ago because we thought we had such good news. But yeah, Ryan, you did such a bang up job with this podcast today. I've been trying really hard to pay attention. I've just been tearing up the whole time and trying to stay focused. But I'm also really, really good at suppressing my feelings, and work really helps me with that. So I think one of the things I'm so sad about is I'm going to have to do a better job with dealing with my feelings with this, because the last time we had such loss, I didn't, and I suffered with it. Been sitting here thinking about Taylor Swift's song, I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. I'm really good at doing this shit with a broken heart, but you had said to me, you don't have to do this today. You don't have to, but I think I kind of made a promise to myself that when I was really open with how shitty infertility has been, and our journeys with two surrogates, because we did lose, we had loss with our first surrogate. And then luckily with our second one, we had Mac, that I was just going to be honest with people, because you talked about trying to have a family, and I don't know what's going on with you guys. But it's really, really hard. I just said that to one of my girlfriends down in my office when I told her. She's like, God, it's so freaking hard to have a baby. So I decided I would be honest about this. People, you have no idea what they're dealing with, and people deal more with loss than they do with the reward, or with, I don't even know. I can't even think right. But this whole thing is so shitty, and I don't envy people that are going through it, but I envy all the moms and the families that have to deal with this and, put on a happy face. So I know my husband's having a difficult time and I'm going to go home and be with him. And then we're going to throw our little 2-year-old in a pool. And I feel like squeezes are going to feel a little different from him today. But
sure.
Yeah, like I said, when I was first dealing with all these infertility issues and loss, that I just wanted to let other people know that we're dealing with them, that I get it and I understand. And I'm going to do that again. This really, really sucks, but so many people are dealing with it. So if you feel alone and you feel like a failure, I do too, but you're not the only one. So it really, really sucks. So thank you for being such a good host today. You were great getting my mind off of this.
Oh, well, honestly, you're far too kind for something that I'm just doing my best here to try and help lift you up and listen at what you're able to do and push through. That the situation that unfortunately you're having to face, and obviously so sorry for that loss in these difficult times. That I mean, look, we talk a lot on this show specifically about people that you come across in the industry that are greater than what your expectations are. And it wouldn't be more fitting than on this episode to talk about what it is that you do on this show and in your job and in your role, and exceeding all expectations of how successful you are, what an awesome person you are. And I mean, you laid it out. You wanted to talk real quick before we were supposed to schedule to do this. You said, hey, I got some terrible news. And I just said, look, we don't have to do this. Let's move on from it. But I'm glad that this provides you some sort of comfort and openness to share these types of things on this platform. And I mean, people talk about being a pro's pro, and that's exactly what you are. And the vulnerability to open up and share this type of thing and connect with people, because I mean, there's so many people that have to deal with this on a day-to-day basis, and you provide them to feel like they are seen and heard and they're not alone. And that's incredible. So I know.
I just feel like people always see like, the success, and we have our baby now. And I've had a lot of people DM me about, I'm struggling and I don't know what to do. And I get you and I see you. And listen, just because people, do different jobs and, are in and out of the spotlight or whatever. I mean, in the end, we're all human, and loss is loss. And I get it. And like I said, Ryan, I don't know what you guys are dealing with, but these fertility clinics are packed and people are trying so hard to have babies. And a lot of time you hear more of the success than you do failure. And that's why it was so important to me when we had gone through so much of it and had so much loss. I just wanted to be open with people and be like, this sucks. Yeah. And today this really does suck. So it makes you really realize when I have my little boy, and today he was throwing a fit royale with us, it's like, you know what? It doesn't matter. So, we'll be good. I was saying to Jarrett today, this is like the hardest part. Well, of course it's the hardest part, but it's like, I just didn't want to be back here, in the loss column. Sure. So that's the hard part, but I love you for dealing with it with me. You were so great at this.
Well, thanks. I'm just here doing what I can, not just to try and co-host a podcast, but to try and lift you up, know that you're loved and supported the entire way. And this may feel awful in the short term, but you're definitely not a loser or in the loss column. It's
I know. I appreciate
one little unfortunate, awful situation. But as you said, putting your focus on Mac is where it is, and you'll be able to move past this. And there are so many people that are so grateful for you shining a light on this and making them feel like they're more normal. And this is something that happens with a lot of people, and it's not something that makes you feel like less than, and it's just the challenges that many people have to face. So it's really incredible each and every time that you're willing to be open about it.
Sometimes it's easier to do the work stuff than the real life stuff,
Sure.
You can like wear a mask and just be talking about, the man flu.
That's
and
right.
Then you have to go home and deal with it. So yeah. But I love you guys. Thank you for that.
We love you, and this has been incredible. So I played but a small role to step in here today. No, you were
amazing. It got my mind off of it for a few minutes.
So no, I'm grateful, and you're awesome, and you're incredible, and nothing but love for you and Jarrett and Mac right now.
Love you guys.